Hi, I'm Dave Arnold, IBM Chief Architect for Hybrid Cloud Integration. Today, we'll take a look at IBM's vision for integration modernization, encompassing technology, architecture, as well as people and process. I'll introduce our hybrid cloud integration platform, the IBM Cloud Pak for integration, and run through a short demo. Let's start by looking at why integration is so important to organizations on a digital transformation journey. Leading analysts, Gartner and Forrester, have captured the sentiments of many of our clients that integration is a fundamental part of digital transformation. Modern platforms, DevOps tooling, and agile approaches have accelerated the rate at which organizations can bring new business function to bear. Add to that the adoption of new SaaS offerings and the ability to shift on-premises systems to public cloud infrastructure, and we find integration teams using traditional patterns, platforms, and constructs such as ESBs struggling to keep pace. So integration as a discipline within the organization needs to change. And at IBM, we see no reason why integration teams cannot derive many of the benefits being enjoyed by developers in leveraging DevOps tools on modern container-based platforms to deliver agile integration. Technology alone can help, but we also need to consider new architectural approaches and changing the way our teams work or perhaps are even organized. Integration modernization requires us to look at the technologies we use, the architectural approaches, and the structure of our teams and the processes and their methodologies. In the technology space, IBM integration products have been modernized to leverage the operational agility of cloud-native infrastructure. Architecturally, we have aligned our technologies for cloud-native deployment, allowing for the exploration of new architectures such as microservices architecture, where we can look at delivery-focused deployment of integration services when and where they're needed. And finally, looking at people and processes. With a common approach to deployment over standards-based dynamic infrastructure, we can consider decentralizing the discipline of integration itself, delivering and iterating through integration services at pace without affecting other services. Let's take a closer look at each of these areas, starting with the technology. IBM integration and messaging technologies have been on a journey of re-engineering to align with container and more recently Kubernetes-based deployments. We started that journey in 2015 with production support for IBM Integration Bus and MQ in containers. And then over 3 years we delivered App Connect Enterprise version 11 and MQ version 9.1 engineered as cloud-native apps and packaged for cloud-native deployment on Kube. API Connect, in transitioning from V5 and VMs to 2018 version for Kubernetes, followed that trend. IBM Event Streams, our Kafka event hub, was cloud-native from the outset, and of course we have Kafka, MQ, App Connect Enterprise, and API Connect managed cloud services that run on the IBM Cloud Kubernetes service. And in the case of MQ, we can run it on EKS on AWS as well. When we started supporting IBM middleware in containers, this was basic product support for the software running in Docker, and we published Docker files by way of an example of how to build an image. From there, we next supplied the IBM middleware in container form, where IBM containerized the software as images based on a redistributable Linux distro and made them available via Docker Hub. The images were scanned for vulnerabilities and ready to run anywhere. By this stage, some of our products already shipped a Red Hat Enterprise Linux base image as well and had gone to the trouble of certifying on Red Hat OpenShift container platform. Finally, these individual products were grouped together into their functional domains. All products delivered certified Red Hat Universal Base images, wrapped with a common install and user experience, plugging into a set of common services for delivery, management, and monitoring on the cloud platform. As such, IBM can deliver full stack support for a Cloud Pak-based solution. More on Cloud Paks later. The modern era calls for integration to be hybrid in a number of dimensions. An integration platform should be deployable anywhere and exhibit the same developer, administrator, and operator experience. It should also address integration requirements that themselves are hybrid, in that they span the full gambit of the cloud landscape, connecting SaaS applications, traditional on-premises workloads, and workloads that have been modernized and/or moved to cloud infrastructure. The approach we have taken of standardizing our middleware technology on Kubernetes has allowed us to deliver a hybrid integration platform that provides a common experience and set of tools, regardless of whether you're leveraging our iPaaS services, a traditional ESB integration construct, or a more modern, agile, decentralized integration architecture. Agile integration requires us to change our architectural approach across all of the integration perspectives, where application integration will exhibit lower dependencies, interfaces will be consumer-centric and business-oriented, and messaging becomes application-centric as well, rather than infrastructure-centric. This architectural approach to delivering integration shares its roots with microservices architecture, where we look to break up the monolith of a centralized ESB for an integration layer where the fine-grained deployment of individual integration services is possible. These services will leverage messaging as required rather than as a dependency, and be business rather than back-end aligned. While cloud-native infrastructure allows us to leverage common platform features rather than product-specific ones for HA scaling and load balancing, for example. Coupling this updated architecture and cloud-native infrastructure with the re-engineering of the IBM portfolio as lightweight cloud-native apps opens the opportunity for decentralized ownership of integration. Decentralizing the discipline of integration is where integration becomes part of the delivery of a business function or application itself, rather than a discipline found centrally outside of the scope of the application team delivering that business function. And adopting such an approach is now possible given the technology and architectural options that we've already discussed. But it's a balancing act, actually an optional transition over time rather than an all or nothing leap. Many of the organizations I'm speaking to intend to take this foundational step to modernization, where they will upgrade to the latest versions of IBM Middleware, move to the cloud-native infrastructure, and simplify their approach to non-functional requirements by leveraging platform rather than product-specific features. They plan to shift from a high-dependency ESB pattern to fine-grained deployment of integration, but integration as a discipline and skill set will still remain as a core IT function, initially at least. You'll have heard of the analogy cattle and pets. This foundational step is somewhere in between. A goldfish perhaps lives in the house, you give it a name, you feed it, keep the water clean, but if it dies you quickly get another one that looks the same and you don't tell the kids. So to summarize, Agile integration is achieved when we combine re-engineered middleware on cloud-native infrastructure in a technology space, realign our architecture to be delivery focused, and then apply these changes to the integration discipline across integration for applications, API management, and the messaging and eventing landscape. Having modernized the technology and architecture, decentralized ownership of integration becomes possible. Team reorganization and the updating of delivery processes can be adopted over time. So to pull this integration modernization off, we need a platform that can support this technological and architectural and cultural shift. Kubernetes is that platform. Organizations are adopting container-based solutions with Kubernetes orchestration to reduce development and operating costs, improve application delivery times, and make more efficient use of infrastructure. With organizations reporting savings upwards of 70% on dev and test costs, 40% on production costs, while operating on 80% fewer servers. And there's no reason why integration cannot have a piece of this action. This is why the IBM Middleware portfolio has been consolidated to a hybrid integration platform aligned to run on Kubernetes and tap into these savings and efficiencies. A hybrid integration platform is something you build in order to deliver integration capabilities across the broadening cloud landscape, from traditional on-premises integration, modern agile integration, and leveraging integration platform as a service capabilities. Many of the vendors in the integration market badge their offerings as hybrid integration platforms. But basically they have taken their VMware-based ESB and API management monolith, unchanged, spun it up on AWS EC2 and paid an army of offshore SMEs to feed and water it for their clients. IBM have taken a different approach. As mentioned, our component products have been re-engineered for cloud-native deployment on Kubernetes. We've crafted a common user experience across the portfolio that plugs into the standards-based management, logging, and monitoring tools, such as Elasticsearch, Logstash, Kibana, Prometheus, and Grafana, and other capabilities that you find provided by a Kubernetes platform. We deliver this experience via the IBM Cloud Pak for integration, which gives clients a catalogue of capabilities ready to be deployed to Kubernetes runtimes across the cloud landscape. IBM Cloud Paks are enterprise-ready, containerized software solutions, giving clients an open, fast, and more secure way to move core business applications to any cloud. Pre-integrated for cloud use cases, IBM Cloud Paks are complete yet simple. IBM certified as open and secure with full software support, ongoing security, compliance, and version compatibility. They run anywhere, on premises, on private and public cloud, and in pre-integrated systems. Each pack includes entitlement to the Red Hat OpenShift container platform. The IBM Cloud Pak for integration populates the Kubernetes control plane's image repository and service registry with IBM middleware product images and Helm charts. And these have been built and tested by IBM product experts to best practice in our labs. Beyond this base product delivery of collateral for Kubernetes environments, the images are enabled to leverage ancillary core services in a common to all manner. Plugging into the aforementioned Elk stack, usage metering, license management capabilities, etc. are also included. Deployment via IBM Cloud Paks gives us a supported and consistent approach across multiple cloud deployment models. Let's take a closer look at the Cloud Pak for integration from a platform and licensing perspective. Some might point the finger and say this is a licensing bundle of IBM middleware, but in truth it's a single platform of integration and messaging technologies delivered as a catalogue of capabilities on Kubernetes. Packaged with entitlement to the Red Hat OpenShift container platform, we can run not just on premises, but on public cloud infrastructure and Red Hat OpenShift managed service offerings from Azure and AWS, for example. It is true to say there is not one integration runtime, but modern microservices architecture says lightweight runtimes performing specific tasks exposed as APIs, deployed independently, and managed and scaled independently is the way forward. We're completely aligned to that philosophy, and with a common centralized user experience, administrators and operators are not impacted. We also ship additional core services in powerful open source CI/CD tools such as Jenkins. Not all middleware products were born equal in terms of price point, so licensing is via common currency. The ICP for I virtual processor cores have an exchange rate to the deployed core count of the component products at runtime. And that runtime, the Red Hat OpenShift container platform, is entitlement included. It's entitlement included to the order of magnitude of the deployed core count. The license is a limited usage license for deployment of those Cloud Pak components. Let's take a look at a demo. It's an online shopping scenario where a customer on a mobile app can shop for items simply by taking a picture of them. Behind the scenes, Cloud Pak for integration has deployed via the IBM MQ and Event Streams applications and application integration services via IBM App Connect Enterprise, and exposed APIs to those services for consumption via a mobile app via IBM API Connect. In this example, those services are deployed via the IBM Cloud Pak for integration, running on IBM Cloud Private's Kubernetes runtime. That was a point in time in the demo that happened just before we closed the acquisition of Red Hat. Let's take a look.
With our credentials, login will be allowing us to browse categories, and then we can actually go ahead and take a photo of the shoe that we're interested in, and that will be uploaded to the inventory system for a match via Watson AI, and that inventory search comes back with our search results via an API call. There's the shoe that we're interested in. We can have a closer look at that and slide to purchase. So another API call puts a message on MQ in the integration layer. After we place the order, we can switch to the chat facility provided by a Watson chatbot, which is fed events via event streams about the change in status of the order as it moves through the fulfillment process. Here we can type in our order number and get an idea of what's happening to it, and that's again provided by the integration and event streams layer in the back end. So all giving a great seamless shopping experience. So let's just have a look now at how that all hangs together at the back end using IBM Cloud Integration Platform. Let's do a login to the environment. Here we can see our integration components. We've got API lifecycle, we've got application integration and messaging. If we have a look at our event streams component, here we can see the topics that were involved in updating the order status. If I drill down into my topics there, I can see my active marked orders. Now, if we have a look at the MQ side of things, which handles the delivery of the order from the application to the store fulfillment process. Now here's just showing where we can create a new queue on the queue manager. Notice I haven't left the interface that I logged into originally, and yet we've been able to both check status and configuration of both event streams and MQ. Now if we have a look at our application integration component, we can see here that we've got two services running. There's an orders and an inventory. If we drill down into the inventory service, which is the API that the store app calls, we can see if we click on that, it gives us the Open API definition of the API call itself, which we can use both in the application integration environment and in our API environment. So let's have a look at API environment now. API Connect from IBM, all part of the Cloud Integration Platform, same user interface. We deploy our APIs to catalogs. If we go and have a look at our sandbox catalog here, we can see a couple of APIs plus the inventory API. We can drill down into that inventory API, store inventory API, and look at the various parameters in our design view provided there for us. Look at our security, look at our paths, the definition of that, the operations involved in that API as well. And then look at the sandbox deployment and drill down into our products and see the APIs which are actually on offer.
So that's given you a taster of some of the features and functions of the IBM Cloud Pak for integration. But what next? To help you get started on an integration modernization journey, we've created a couple of workshops for your consideration. Firstly, you could engage your local IBM pre-sales technical team to run a free half-day integration modernization workshop, where we will look to understand your organization's aspirations for modernization and map your existing integration landscape to a more agile reference architecture. Further to that half-day session with the IBM technical sales team, the IBM Cloud Garage Services team can offer a consultative engagement to blueprint the next generation Agile integration architecture for you. This will take this to the next level of understanding and detail. If either of these workshops sounds of interest, then please reach out to your local IBM sales exec or your account team.